Sounds good.
All right, good afternoon, folks. Phil Gallagher here for another Legacy stream. Today we are going to be playing with elves, and I'm not going to be doing it alone. Joining me is HelloNewton, aka Newton Hang. Greetings and welcome. It's nice to have you on stream.
Thanks, Phil. I appreciate you inviting me on. It's my honor.
All right, so in case anyone doesn't know who you are, would you just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks. Will do.
And Newton, I'm going to go ahead and put you on screen for this portion.
Sure. My name is Newton Hang. I'm an engineer by day, and then I guess I play Magic by night. But I mostly play Elves, but I have like other decks built. DNT, Rug Delver. So mostly more proactive decks. I don't play. Well, I play Storm too, but then Control is probably not in my wheelhouse as much. Um, I've been. I think most people who know me as the person who added Elvish Reclaimer to the deck, and then from there, the deck has kind of branched off into two different versions: the traditional list, and then what most people refer to as the Reclaimer list.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize you now, and let's get this deck list on screen. So I think at first, a lot of people thought that Elvish Reclaimer was a bit of a meme card in Elves, like that it was cute to be able to go and fetch up something like a Gaia's Cradle, but you've had just tons of success with this build. It opens up things like Bojuka Bog and Caracas. Do you want to say a little bit more about maybe Elvish Reclaimer and like why you think it's good in this deck?
Sure. I can understand why people thought that about Elvish Reclaimer, because if you look, Elves is more proactive, and Reclaimer, you can't even benefit from the land until 2 turns after it hits the battlefield, because you have to untap with it and then tap to even get the land, but it comes into play tapped. So I dismissed it during spoilers myself, but I think it was DNS Solver who immediately after Reclaimer got released, top aided the challenge twice in a row with a Hogax Reclaimer list that also ran Dark Depths. And that immediately got me thinking, well, if a deck can play a Reclaimer as a one drop elf as a 4 of, there's got to be a way to incorporate Reclaimer into our list, because I think the power level is there just based on that alone. So shout out to DNS Solver for that. Um, After that, the initial builds were kind of rough, so I had to figure out how to incorporate a new 4 of into the deck, because it only took one game for me to realize, bang, this card is very good. Because Delver has a very hard time being a 3/4. Bolt doesn't kill it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And if we take a quick look at your deck here, we can see that some of the one-ofs that used to be in this deck, things like Llanowar Elves, are no longer in the deck list. We can see we've trimmed on a little bit of the top end, only 3 natural orders, only 1 Crater Hoof. Um, Talk to me about Once Upon a Time.
Sure. Well, before I get to Once Upon a, just real quickly, I just wanted to say the natural fit eventually was, I realized Nettle Sentinel wasn't crucial to the combo anymore, and that so it became a straight swap. So for those curious how I found the room, I just cut all the Nettle Sentinel from the list. For Once Upon a Time, I tried the card initially when it first got spoiled, only because the power levels seemed to be there, and I think that's not just myself. I'm not a genius. I think most people who saw the card immediately thought this card is broken. And my mistake was initially I didn't know how to board with Once Upon a Time, so I while I 5-0'd a few times with it, I kept boarding it out. And in hindsight, I believe that was a mistake, because what I compare it to is it's the Green Ponder. And hopefully that makes sense, because you're just digging 5 deep to find whatever you need. And unlike Ponder, it's free the first cast.
Yeah, I've fallen into similar traps as well with Once Upon a Time. So if we take a look at your sideboard here,
Uh,
there's 12 cards that aren't going to be a hit with Once Upon a Time. So your
mhm.
initial thought is absolutely going to be, well, of course, I'm lowering my density of hits. I should be trimming or boarding these out completely. But because it's so critical to some of your setup and because it's a very good endgame draw, that's not always true.
Yeah, what it really does is, from my experience, is it's it allows for more explosive starts, which is crucial because I eliminated all the Landlord effects a while ago in favor of Birch Lord because I think Birch Lord is just a better card because it allows for better sequencing, especially with Reclaimer. Hopefully, the best example I can give of is turn one, you're priced into leading with Landlord. Whereas if you have a multiple of another elf, you don't have to lead with Birchwood. You can lead with that multiple. And then if they kill it, you can still generate mana on turn two by playing two elves and then a third elf, if that makes sense.
Okay, then I think we're ready to go ahead and move on to our new addition to the list, Allosaurus Rider, which was just legal as of like 2 days ago. So testing with it is minimal so far, but talk to me about some of your thoughts so far.
So I've run it through, I think, total of 6 leagues now. So I've been trying to really get some testing in the last 2 days. So 3 leagues each night. And the card, okay, I already had high expectations for the card, and it matched my expectations. So I thought three copies was very aggressive because most people was thinking, oh, it can just replace Rex Sage, which I could a long time ago. But I almost want to go to 4 copies, and the only reason why I can't is because the list is already very tight, and I don't play. I don't see where we can trim to make room for the fourth. Not to mention the Bajuka Bog that's in the sideboard was in the main, and I had to move it to the sideboard just to fit the third Allosaurus Shepherd.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if you've played much Enchantress or played against much Enchantress, but this card very much reminds me of a Destiny Spinner there.
Mm-hmm.
And that card has been so impressive to me. This is going to stop your cards from being countered by Chalice or by counter spells. It's an endgame finisher. It produces mana with something like Heritage Druid or Birchlore Rangers. This seems like a slam dunk to me.
Yeah, it's funny because I had this conversation with Ali. I'm not sure if you know Ali, Lance player. And he was thinking about playing that in lands, but then I think the reason why it's so good in elves is because unlike lands, um, elves can actually make use of the 1/1 body, and I've actually activated its ability multiple times already. Because sometimes you just draw and or draw a green sun and your opponent's just dead on board, just out of nowhere.
Okay. I think the sideboard is relatively straightforward and intuitive from my point of view. Is there anything else you want to say before we sort of just jump into the league?
Yeah. So for the sideboard, because your main deck is so good against fair decks, you just want to just maximize on all the highest impact combo hate as possible in the sideboard. So I've really minimized the number of fair cards for the sideboard.
Yeah, essentially you have the very flexible abrupt decay that you will probably be bringing in against most, but not all, fair decks. And then otherwise, like you get to board Progenitus against decks that can't really beat a Progenitus, or decks that might have things like board wipes that otherwise might really mess you up. You get to board, in a lot of cases, what is that? Nine very effective cards versus combo decks, maybe 10 if Bog is good.
Yeah, so Decay, I only board in actually for the Tempo decks. So these are like Chalice decks, Delver, Hate Bears. Control, I actually like Thoughtseize because a lot of times they don't have any permanents or relevant targets for Abrupt Decay.
All right. Makes sense to me. Let's go ahead and jump into a league, see how we do. Newton Elves Legacy League. See what we can do with our powers combined. See how many matches I lose due to not seeing something that you see, and you go, wait, no, Phil, stop, don't do that.
I'm sure you'll be fine. The deck is incredibly difficult to play, so you don't have to feel bad if a mistake does happen. I've had longtime Elves players who even have trouble with this version.
Oh
Who
boy, we're gonna have a good round one match here, given this opponent.
Oh, it's Stephanox.
You two, good luck. Okay. Looks to me like we have a good opening hand, but we don't quite know what we do with it until we cast the Once Upon a Time.
Exactly right.
Cradle or Shepherd? Shepherd?
I always value Cradle because it's just a broken card.
Cradle was my first thought as well. We have no.
I think the only time I don't take Cradle is if I'm already like land flooded.
All right. In terms of sequencing these things, is there an optimal way here?
Um, in general, I like to lead with Green Sun. However, in this case, because we don't really have any payoff spell, I would probably lead with the Virtual Rangers because we want to get Visionary and Wirewood going.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Otherwise, I would lead with Green Sun in most cases.
I assume that Aquarian Ranger is our next spell.
Right. So I think the ideal sequencing is so important because a mistake on turn two can easily cost you the game because you're just set back so far mana wise. But the sequencing would be Ranger, tap the Ranger with a Birch Lore, Wirewood, and then you can Green Sun for 3 with a Cradle.
This is assuming that everything goes well here. We may see something like a Lightning Bolt on Birch Lore Rangers in response to this, yes.
Right. So you would tap the Cradle here for mana just to play around days, but
The little things, right? Oh! There we go. Now we're punished for that. But like, I'm glad you talked about it and brought it up though. Like, that's exactly the sort of thing that is great to have for future people who are watching this video.
It's little things like that you have to actually get punished once to learn from, in my opinion.
Are we fetching a Dryad Arbor here?
No, because we're playing against Delver and we need to develop the mana, and they kill the Arbor. We're set up back pretty far.
Okay.
I would just play your fetch for another basic, play the Wirewoods, and see how they respond.
Someone in chat says, I have to be punished by something 10 times before I learn from it. I find pretty humorous.
And then I would hold back the Green Sun because
I agree with that. We want to play this around some amount of soft permission if we can.
It's not even playing around the permission. It's just we need a payoff spell. I run things into days a lot of times, only because I don't like to daze myself every turn by not by playing around it. If that makes sense. But that is a very good draw.
That is insane.
So here's an example of what I mean. I would just attack with the 2 Wirewoods, and then Green Sun for 2, and then if they have the days, I just live with it because I don't like playing around days, in my opinion, unless I absolutely can afford to.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Given that we have this natural order, does it make more sense to Green Sun for X equals 1? That plays around days and allows us to get Allosaurus Rider, and then that makes the natural order uncounterable, and assuming we draw 1 mana source, it's a kill?
There's merit to that. The problem is you don't know what your top deck is going to be, and it could be a while before your next land drop or even mana producer, which is why I favor the Visionary here.
That's fair. We don't have another basic, right? We have two.
Correct. So I would actually fetch the
Savannah.
Savannah here.
That allows us to cast the Archon if we get into that scenario later.
Right. It hardly ever matters, but it could.
There is the daze, but like that has returned a card to our opponent's hand, right? Like they have no pressure, we have pressure. We have
Exactly.
a spell
So
that if
that's
it
another
resolves, it wins.
right. That's another reason why I don't really care about days is because within the context of elves, if they're setting themselves back on mana, you can live with it.
And I think we run back the same play as last turn, right?
Agreed.
Minus the attack, obviously. It's not so good this turn. All right. Yeah, now we get to try twice.
So they do have a clock now, but we have back-to-back natural orders that could potentially win the game.
The trample threat is humorously quite good against the Wirewood Symbiote Elvish Visionary engine.
Yes, I have a friend who also plays elves, and he would complain to me, "Why does that thing have trample?"
I don't bounce here, correct?
You do.
Okay.
There's scenarios where you don't bounce if you need the mana, but you can't generate mana with that board anyways. So when in doubt, always lead with a visionary.
Yeah, you don't want that to get dazed. And now Quirion Ranger is worth another land drop, so we play that next.
Right, and then you run out the Reclaimer. It doesn't seem like they have days based on how fast they're responding.
Right. Untap target creature. Return a forest. Do this. Play this. That's a turn. Pretty happy with that. We have a very strong board.
Right.
They're probably not beating this with the clock that they have as of now.
Yeah, they can get in for another 4. Well, depends what they do. There's
And we just let that through, right? It's not worth trading 2 elves to take that off the table for the risk it presents.
you can actually, well, given that we're not under a ton of pressure, yeah, we just let that through and go to 9. There's some merit to double blocking with Reclaimer and Ranger there because they can only kill the Reclaimer, but I don't think it's worth it.
All right, and we'll bounce our Visionary again.
Right. So the next turn is crucial because we can fetch Kaya's Cradle now.
That enters tapped, right?
Wow, that's a very strong draw. Yep.
Now we lead with Heritage Druid first.
Yes, because you can generate the 3 mana immediately for the Visionary.
So do we just go make the 3 mana, cast a natural order?
No, what I would do here is you have up to 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. I would play the Visionary first, actually.
Just off of my lands?
Yeah, because you can use that to tap to Heritage, which is better use of your creatures. Okay. So it's hard to lose because you just essentially just natural order twice here. If the first one resolves, you just get an Archon because that forces the second one through.
All right. Sacrifice one of the Wirewood Symbiotes here.
Yeah.
We're playing this around soft permission. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff.
So you got punished, but not really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we got punished. I made a mistake, but we got there anyway. We got there in spite of errors that I made. Everyone makes errors. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So it looks like to me we want 3 Abrupt Decays for this matchup. Is there anything else that's worth bringing in?
I like the Bajuka Bog too, personally. It's
Okay.
another black source, and it's very good if they have Arcanist.
Okay. Back when I played Elves, I tended to cut down on natural orders. Is that the sort of plan that you're still on in these matchups, or have things changed?
Yes and no. Delver is the only matchup where I cut natural orders.
So are we looking at something like 4 for 4 here?
That's exactly how I would board because they have a very hard time beating Archon anyways.
Okay. Well, good. I at least kind of know what I'm doing. In case you're not familiar with the general plan, against something like a Delver deck, getting a natural order countered for either like free or for 1 mana from their end sets you down 4 mana plus a card, and that card that you're sacrificing, that creature, is sometimes worth mana or life or damage. It's really hard to be fighting that natural order plan when instead most of the time you can grind them out with Elvish Visionaries or just go wide of your opponent.
Yeah, within the context of Delver too, something one misconception that there is you board out natural order when the card is bad, but I like to tell people natural order is never bad. Um, the thing is, I only board out natural order not so much that it's bad in the matchup, but more so we don't need it. And as long as your hand is not clunky, like drawing hoof or drawing on 2, 3 natural orders, you generally win the Delver matchup.
All right. I would say we have a decent but not necessarily exciting opening hand.
It has lands and spells. It's good
Yeah.
enough.
My thought is play the Wooded Foothills and crack it this turn. It's awkward in the face of Stifle, though.
A lot of these Rug Delver decks have Stifle now, and that will set us back pretty far, in my opinion. Uh, with that in mind, that's why I would actually play the Bayou. Under normal circumstances, I would agree with you.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, do we play around Stifle this turn, or do we like play into a potential wasteland? But if they didn't have like a Delver that they lead on, or a Ponder that they lead on, like Stifle is likely, and this might stop them from playing a Tarmogoyf if they wasteland us.
I would lead with I would lead with Heritage Druid here.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason for that is because we're anticipating a vault, and Reclaimer is high priority in the matchup. Like they have a very hard time beating it.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
And Heritage Druid is only good when you actually have a board presence. So that's why you want to lead with it. And if they kill it, that's fine. If they don't, then they just time walk themselves and didn't do anything turn 1. So I see a question in chat: why Heritage over Birchlore? Uh, the reason is because Birchlore only needs 2 elves to make mana. Heritage needs 3.
Here, I think I play the fetch land into the Stifle.
Correct.
I'm going to start with that to force them to use their mana for that if they do have it this turn. Okay, yep.
Yeah. So see, we would have been punished very hard if they stifled the previous turn.
Okay, now that we only have 1 mana, we only have 1 land in graveyard. My thought is the Birchlore here.
I actually prioritize the Birchlore because it can generate mana immediately, and we have double redundant copies of Reclaimer, so I would lead with the Reclaimer.
Question from chat. How come you prize Reclaimer so much in the matchup versus Rug Delver? Is it the 3/4 stats or the ability to search out Bog and other lands?
It's everything. It's the 3/4 that they can't vault. It's the Bog for Arcanist. It's the fetching of a Gaia's Cradle to undo all their mana denial.
All right, so kind of the same position as last turn. Are we running out the Reclaimer again?
Yeah, because now we have to just force them to have it. Reclaimer has the highest impact.
This start from our opponent here is rough for us.
It's actually okay still, I think. The only thing is I would have sequenced that a little differently. I would not have given them the information that you have an Arbor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Sorry, I know I'm nitpicking.
No, this is what I want. This is the sort of thing that I'm doing all of the time. Except today I'm not the expert. You are.
Thank you.
All right, so our opponent is low on resources, whereas we are not.
So they're down to one card.
This is an interesting turn. Like Once Upon a Time, looking for Gaia's Cradle essentially allows us to vomit out 2 creatures, but that doesn't actually do a lot. Killing the Tarmogoyf here with Abrupt Decay takes a lot of pressure off of us.
I think we can't afford to Once Upon a Time at the moment because we're under a lot of decent amount of pressure. I would develop the board state. I would develop the board state even more and force them to block bounce, and we can block bounce with Wirewood Birch Lore.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I would prioritize the Wirewood there to play around days, just like you did.
Yep. I think we're scared of a lightning bolt on Wirewood Symbiote a bit.
We're somewhat scared of it, but if they have a lightning bolt, we're in a lot of trouble regardless.
Yeah,
So
I think we do the block
have.
bounce this turn, right?
Correct, because we're under a decent amount of pressure at the moment.
All right. Untap this creature, bounce this. Great.
So one of the tricks that can be done, it didn't apply here, but if you have extra mana, you can actually cast a Once Upon a Time with the untap.
Run back next, the same as last turn, but end up with another Birch Lore Ranger in play.
Right, except this time we can make that play now.
Yes.
The one I just spoke of. And then might as well get in for the free damage with the Wirewood. And then Once Upon a Time, we really want it to hit a cradle.
Yes, that would
unlock
be
our
very insane. So we block. Okay. We bounce. Untap this.
No, cancel. You want to generate the black mana first. Or green mana.
I see. So
You would have lost the mana. Right?
I click this, and this gives me my black mana by tapping this and this.
Or green mana, it doesn't matter.
All right. Now I untap target creature, turn an elf.
Right, because it's part of the cost.
Is it better to Abrupt Decay the Tarmogoyf or cast the Once Upon a Time? It's better
Once Upon a Time.
Cast this, right?
Yeah, the Goyf doesn't scare us right now.
Visionary versus Bog.
Bog doesn't do anything
Visionary.
on this board state, so Visionary. So that's a very good draw.
Long term, how are we beating this Hooting Mandrills?
We have to get the Archon down at some point to block. So that's why we need to unlock the mana. What we can do here is Green Sun for 1, getting the Quirion Ranger. And the reason why is it gets us 2 mana back immediately. And then we can hope the Visionary draws into the Cradle.
All right, so we're going to get a Quirion Ranger here. All right, so now we can return. Oh, so we untap this. We return this. That gets us our mana. Play this. Play the Visionary out. Another Quirion Ranger doesn't do us a lot of good this turn.
What I would do here is tap the using the Birch Lord, tap the Visionary and the Ranger for mana, bounce it with the Wirewood, and then replay it again.
Oh. Okay.
So
Turn.
make sure to target the Arbor.
Yeah, target that. Return this. Tap this. Replay Visionary. Get a card out of it. That's not good this turn, but it will be very good next turn.
So I think we're like, well, let me think. We're priced into blocking the Goyf again next turn. Yeah, I think you can pass here.
Okay.
There's some argument to play the Ranger and then use it to block, but
This is one of those decks where like it's great to screenshot interesting points and like think about them later because the deck is very complicated.
yeah, it's one of the reasons why I think it doesn't see as much play as it probably should, is because it's very difficult to play.
I found that previous versions of Elves were also very difficult, but it seems those older versions seemed more forgiving than this version. Because like if you messed up on your mana, Nettle Sentinel bailed you out so much of the time.
That's entirely true, right?
All right, block with Visionary, bounce Visionary.
Yes. So there was actually an argument to just play the Ranger last turn and then use that to block. That would save us a little bit on mana.
No. Are we just gonna get double bolted here? Oh no, we are just going to one. That fetch line is now off.
Yeah, so you have to lead with Glimpse here, right?
All right.
Just hope that they don't have anything.
Force plus blue card is pretty devastating here.
They may let it through, to be honest.
Oof.
Okay, so we're playing with full information now.
Okay. So we theoretically need to trade with Hooting Mandrills next turn.
Right, we're just gonna trade 4 into the Mandrills. What you can do is tap the Bayou, untap the Arbor, play the Bayou again. I would play Visionary first, just to see.
Off of Bayou, like, are we abrupt decaying in this cycle at all?
No, because we can abrupt decay on their turn if need be.
Okay.
I would play out the Birch Lord here as well, off the Dry Arbor.
So now we're looking at like probably blocking with 5 creatures on Hooting Mandrills and then abrupt decaying the Tarmogoyf.
The Tarmogoyf, exactly.
This is a weird one.
It definitely is.
Ponder gets to look for the bolt. Ponder gets to look for the bolt.
I actually think there's some merit here of only 4 blocks and then bouncing the Visionary, because we're dead to bolt regardless, or remove a spell.
Okay. So
I would I would block with Wirewood and the three non-visionary elves.
Okay.
We lose to Submerge, but I think we'd rather have the card draw.
Yeah.
And then we can use the mana to abrupt decay the Goyf right now.
Sounds good. Let's make a black. Make a green. Let's abrupt decay a Tarmogoyf. Now let's Wirewood Symbiote. I guess untap you and bounce you. All right, we are alive. Oh, come on!
He slow rolled it.
I'm not even mad. All right, I don't think we're changing anything play draw here.
No. Most of the time, I don't change anything play draw, regardless. The exception, I think, to that is if for some reason I have a ley line out and I need to protect it, Thoughtseize is a lot better on the draw, on the play, sorry. I think this is a trap hand because you just lose to Wasteland.
All right, well, I already kept it, so we're dealing with it. Lead on Birch Lore.
Druid for the same reason I mentioned before.
Okay.
Because it's the weakest one.
Yeah, CBL currently does not have the new jump start cards yet. So Allosaurus Shepherd is not displaying.
So if we don't hit a land drop, again, I think we would just lead. Oh, that's perfect.
So do we just get Forest here, or do we get Bayou here?
I think you just get Bayou.
I agree.
We can't really play around Wasteland at this point. I would play the Birch Lore so we can tap for Visionary. Or actually, we can tap for two Wirewood. That's even better.
Yeah, and then next turn we can play Visionary around days. We have layers of protection for our creatures here.
Right. Like, we don't get blown out by sweepers here.
An opponent is a little ways away from a Hooting Mandrills, which would be one of the scariest things that could happen to us.
I think Hooting Mandrills by itself is fine. It's only when it's backed up by permission that it's scary. So here's kind of nice. We can play around the days, and then it would generate 3 mana immediately. And the bog is very relevant.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you have mandrills.
Wait on the glimpse.
Yeah, because we can't really do much. We're kind of mana constrained at the moment, so I would glimpse the following turn.
And now I hold this, right? Do I hold this for next turn?
I would actually. What I would do here is I would use one of your visionary, Wirewood, bounce the untapped visionary.
Okay.
And then untap one of your other creatures and play that again. You need to bounce the tap one.
All right, good stuff. Now we'll just go ahead and bog here, right? And then crash in for 2.
Exactly.
The opponent's Sylvan library is not the best in the face of our 6 creatures.
Yeah. Sylvan Library can't be drawing too much here, otherwise you get punished. There's no Earl to mitigate the life loss.
Okay.
So that's actually fine. We've actually already drawn a lot off the Visionary, and we can still bounce the Visionary. I would actually return 1 Birch Lore here.
Okay.
And the logic for that is it lets you get going again mana-wise immediately.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Savannah or Forest?
I would go with Savannah.
All right. Am I glimpsing?
Yeah, I actually would have led with I wouldn't have played the fetch just in case you drew in the cradle, but it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, you should lead with a glimpse here off the Savannah in most cases.
Yeah, that makes sense. At this point, I'm kind of keeping an eye on my clock and trying to keep things rolling.
Yeah, I think we should be okay, but we do have to play a little bit faster.
Yeah, I'm just not mechanically familiar with playing Elves on Magic Online.
Yeah, so I would lead with the Visionary here, and then play the Birch Lore, and then play the Wirewood.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and then we can just press priority on their turn just to save time.
Yeah, when we don't have a Wirewood symbiote in play, we can eke those seconds out. Dr. Vil, as well as Somednogard, thank you very much for continuing your Twitch Prime subscriptions. Very much appreciated.
If we don't draw an elf here, we lead with a Wirewood. But that changes things too. I would just Green Sun for 2 here.
Okay.
And then play out the Wirewood. To make sure to play around days.
Do we want to decay the Delver?
No.
No, just...
We don't care about it right now.
All right.
So we play the Wirewood and save the Windswept for the Arbor.
Okay.
We only decay the Delver if we're under a lot of pressure, and we're not under any.
All right. Am I bouncing my Visionary end of turn?
Yes. If anything, the library is probably a little scarier.
Yeah. When we had 6 creatures prior to the rough, the library was not an issue. Now it's an issue. But we have a decent card draw engine. It just like crumbles to a lightning bolt or another rough. Or Dreadhorde Arcanist isn't great for us either. Interesting.
I think he wants to preserve the life points.
Yep, that's fine. Ooh. Sure.
Do you want to lead with the Visionary here? Actually, lead with the Glimpse now.
That was a good draw.
Yeah,
I
very
enjoyed
good.
that. Heritage Druid now?
No, the Visionary.
Okay. Just take
to play around base.
Sure, and we take 2 draws here as well, assuming that it resolves. Birch Lore is a fine pickup.
I would lead with a Birch Lore here to generate more mana. and then now you can play the fetch.
Yeah, fetch, try to go for the Heritage Druid.
Right, and that plays around days too. And then I think from here we just have to play a little quicker. Tap 3.
Great.
Yeah, and just keep chaining off.
Okay. This gets us Allosaurus Rider or
No, you want to keep going, so get the Wirewood.
okay.
So you're gonna bounce back Birch Lore, untap and play the Birch Lore.
All right, so untap literally anything, right?
Yeah, bounce the tap Birch Lore.
Okay. I guess I need to do this. All right,
And
this.
then we'll just turn.
Yep. Okay. Good stuff. And now we largely could just like abrupt decay the Delver and crash in over 2 turns
Right.
and get the kill. It gets a little more interesting if our opponent plays something fat like a Tarmogoyf.
That's fine.
That's
irrelevant.
I'm not bouncing anything this turn, correct?
No, given the clock. You want to take the Narset off the board too to eliminate the draws.
Sure, sounds good.
So 3 and 2, 3 to Narset, 2 to face. Play the Arbor, or you play the Foothills. That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Any reason to play or not play Quirion Ranger? I guess not play for Glimpse.
I would not play here. Yeah. And then we still have another Arbors that we can fetch, so that plays around 1 removal spell. I would have played, after killing the Narset, I would have played the Visionary again, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, there are more optimal plays that I can be doing than what I just did there, unquestionably.
It's okay, because we're low on time, that's why. And our board beats 1 removal spell or 1 blocker at the moment. I think we have it.
I do as well.
So instead fetch for Arbor. That's fine.
Yeah, sure. I guess I can just do it now.
Yeah, we just have to crash in for everybody. And then next turn play the Arbor, play the Ranger, because we're going to lose to a Rough anyways. Actually, we can cast the Archon here.
Sounds good, can we?
Yeah, just enough. Play the Ranger, untap the Arbor, play the land drop,
Oh, I
and
see.
play everything. And then just pass power next turn.
Okay, so now I just pay for that.
Yeah.
Not waste
And just
anything.
pass turn then, because we can't cast Archon now. And we just pass priority here. The only card we lose here is Rough. And if they have it, we don't have enough time to win given the clock. And they don't have it. Otherwise, yeah, just crash in. Whew.
All right, cut that one a little closer than I would have liked. This is something that often happens when I have guest streams. Is like we spend a lot of time talking about really interesting points, And then if we go to game 3 and it gets long, it's like, oh, well, TikTok.
I'm glad we got there though. That was closer than it needed to be. Not on the match itself, but the clock. We were pretty far ahead.
Yeah, and like I have an extra card draw in there. Well, I have two extra card draws in there over the course of that game if I play things more slowly. And I also like could have cast Archon the previous turn if I didn't just like crash in with everything to try to instantly win the game.
Yeah, it's just yeah, we could have played better there, but the problem is we were short on time, and I didn't want to lose a clock.
Yeah, this looks like an easy keep to me.
Right.
We'll cast our Once Upon a Time, see what that does to the hand, and probably play.
Yeah.
Uh,
In
we'll
most
see.
cases, I'll cast Once Upon a Time before land drop because some people really want to cheese win, so they may force it or whatnot. Here we get the Ranger. The reason being is Allosaurus Shepherd isn't really a card you want early. I would lead with the Reclaimer. I'm not sure if you would have done the same, but the reason being is Reclaimer is scarier for the opponent turn one.
Our Bog's sideboard, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, that would be the one card I would want main deck if I had one more slot. Here I would just play out your two creatures. Actually, you can actually set up a cradle here because we care about speed in this matchup, and it also threatens bog.
So just play land and pass.
Land pass, right? They have to respect the bog here.
Brutal. I don't
Untitled
think you can
Chapter.
just like fetch Arbor turn 1 in the dark, not knowing what your opponent is on. That seems very dangerous to me.
Yeah, I definitely believe would fetch basic in almost all circumstances because you just don't want to lose a blood moon or something like that.
Okay, so notably our opponent has fetched Underground Sea, meaning that they are the Hedron Crab version. Oh, Negator, that's a really good point. We might look like depths right now.
Yeah, that's what's up, Tom? Tom is one of the if not the best depth player I know.
Oh, unquestionably. He has been a guest on the stream as well, doing the same thing that you're doing now, and it was a heck of a stream.
So here's something tricky that most people might not realize. You lead with the heritage off the bayou here because you want to net one extra mana.
All right, I'm proud. I saw that one.
And then now you have two mana to glimpse.
So we glimpse with one floating, then we heritage druid. That brings us up to 3 mana.
Exactly. Otherwise you can't glimpse effectively, right? And now you can kind of go nuts. So here, little thing, you want to bounce the forest first to generate 3 mana and untap and bouncing the ranger because so you can get another untap later on. Minor thing to
Okay,
be aware.
so say that one more time. You use
If
Quirion
you bounce with
Ranger.
the ranger, untapping any other, generate 3 off heritage, then you can use Wirewood to bounce the ranger, and that gives you under.
Oh, I see. Okay,
It's relevant because a green sun represents an untap for a ranger later on, because you can green sun for arbor.
got it.
It's things like this that make this version harder because you don't have Netto to bail you out. So you have to really be tight on your untaps.
Just Green Sun for 1
For
or
Wirewood, right? So you
yeah.
can keep doing it. Unfortunately, we are dead to their combo next turn because we don't have ooze in the deck. But it is what it is. So here's the line I was talking about earlier. Did we use the wirewood, both wirewoods already?
No, I think we can still wait. Yes, we've used
Okay, so
both of
here's the
these.
line I was talking about earlier. You can green sun for one, use the ranger, bounce the arbor, and then untap 3 for once upon a time.
Okay, so I have to use Birch Lore to do that, right?
No, you can green sun for 0.
Oh, to get a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, this is like very difficult lines that I think most people don't see. And then use a ranger that we got a refresh on from the wirewood to bounce the arbor, and now we have 3 elves.
So use the Quirion Ranger to refresh.
To bounce the arbor, untapping anybody.
Oh, okay. So untap this, bounce this. Oh, that's so good.
That's why I said it was really important to do what we did earlier with the ranger when we bounced with a wirewood.
All right, so now I have 3 mana.
We can once upon a time and dig 1 deeper. And then in this case, it would be another wirewood.
Cast that. Not good at drawing elves. Okay. So now this
So
means
we
that
just
we
have to
have
hope
to.
that we don't die now.
We can still get one more draw, but we can't go off, right?
No more draws.
We haven't made a land drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can get 1 more draw then.
Yeah, so we return. Yes, Aquarian Ranger. It doesn't matter, right?
It does actually, because you can bounce again, right?
Okay, so return Quirion then.
Right. So
Or
in this version,
wrong order.
Wirewood
Untap
and Red
this,
Ranger do
turn
very
this.
good Nettle impersonations.
Okay, well, we're going to kill them next turn. But this is where I need to stop. I have both Dryad Arbors in hand, so I can't Green Sun for 1. We're done, right?
Now we're done, yeah.
Okay. Jgats, the Cradle would enter tapped. So that does not allow us to continue to combo off.
We just gotta fade their Hogak here, and we win. Therapy taking Behemoth is a little awkward, though.
Yeah, that's true. But that wouldn't be the first thing that I would name with a Cabal Therapy. But I guess
Right.
I guess you get 2 tries. And we don't get to Archon can't stop creatures, right?
No, I mean it's already very good.
Can only be so good.
Right.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna F6. I assume we are probably dead to Hogak here.
Yeah, I think we're dead.
I mean, there's like very narrow worlds where we're not dead.
It was just awkward because, like I said, we don't have the Bog in the main. Otherwise, and even then, Bog doesn't really beat this B2 because they get priority.
Yeah, Hogak is like surprisingly good at fighting through pieces of gray hate. The opponent has 2 Hogaks, but they don't have any bridge from belows yet. So for anyone who's not familiar with how this works, Altar of Dementia says sacrifice a creature, target player mills cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power. So you try to mill yourself for enough of your deck that you get 2 bridge from belows. And once you have 2 bridge from belows, every time you sacrifice a zombie, every time you sacrifice a Hogak, you get 2 zombies to replace it, which you can use for the colored costs in this. and Hogak will allow you to mill out the rest of your deck while netting like zombies and such until eventually the Altar of Dementia is turned on the opponent to mill them out. There is a surprisingly long pause from the opponent here, which I'm confused about because, like, assuredly they have to go for it, right?
Yeah, maybe they're just new to the deck or something, but I think it should be pretty deterministic from here.
Oh, okay. They were thinking about whether or not they wanted to Cabal Therapy themselves for that bridge from below to increase their chances of going off.
Yeah, I realized maybe a month or two ago that the deck can actually get into weird scenarios where they don't have the bridge at the right time. And I prematurely conceded to my opponent before I realized it.
Yeah, like until they have 2 bridges in the graveyard, it is not safe. Aren't they supposed to self-mill by sacking the first Hogak? I'm not a Hogak expert, but seems like those cards are worth more than the 1 zombie token is. Maybe they're playing around like a worst case scenario though.
Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention, so I didn't know. I don't know how they sequenced it. I just assumed we're dead, but
Okay, yeah, they have 3 bridge from belows now. I'm gonna concede here and just
save everybody time.
respect both of our time.
Yeah, luckily in the legacy community, I believe most people concede if it's deterministic. I just I don't get people who try to waste other people's time by making you play out the combo when it's deterministic.
I'm totally on board with you there, but that's apparently a hot take in certain circles. Okay, so the obvious stuff is that like we want to have access to these 4 cards. Um, in terms of other interaction, like are we looking to have Caracas or anything like that?
Against Dredge, I wouldn't, but here I think it's very good because they have 4 Hogak. Thoughtseize is also very good for taking Altar.
Okay, how many Thoughtseize?
I would bring them all in.
Oh wow, I would have boarded much lighter here and maybe been wrong for it.
And what goes out here is Shepherd doesn't do anything in this matchup.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And then we have another 3. So I usually alternate between Visionary and Wirewood in combo matchups, starting with Visionary. So, but in this case, it works out 3 and 3.
Okay. All right, so here's our 9-4-9. So you actually end up being relatively creature light in these post sideboard games versus combo then.
Yes, but that's fine because the combo matchups are typically only dictated by only a few cards, anyways, and Leyline of the Void being one of them.
Okay, so our overall strategy is mulligan relatively aggressively to an opening hand that either has Leyline of the Void or Elvish Reclaimer. Is that correct?
Pretty
much. Okay.
Yeah. And between 4 Reclaimer and Leyline, you're pretty high chance to hit one or the other.
Uh, this is a strange hand.
If Ooze were in the deck, I would consider it, but Green Sun for 1 also could get there because it represents Reclaimer. It's close. I would actually keep it.
So, like, what's our game plan to win? Like,
Actually, now that I think about it,
I don't see this working, right? So this is like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 tap out for Reclaimer, turn 3 get a Bog. This
we actually can't get turn 2 Reclaimer consistently because we don't have a second mana producer.
Oh,
So we have to actually ship this back.
Yeah. So we do get, if we keep this, we do get to throw the Crater Hoof back into the deck.
Did they keep?
Opponent has mulligan to 6.
So this looks like a Ranger into turn 2 Reclaimer hand.
Is this fine on 6, or is it better to go to 5 and
It's
look for
probably
Leyline?
fine, to be honest. If it was Reanimator, there's no way I'm keeping this, but Hogak is fine.
Okay.
So I see a comment online about new player asking for opponent to play out their combo. I think that's fine as long as you let them know that that's what you're looking for. Then they won't feel as bad.
Yeah. Or also, like, if you just, like, watch them do the combo, like, their starting combo once or twice to see what they're going, like, that's usually totally fine. So we're just gonna lead on a Ranger here. Another thing that this like does that like may not be obvious is that it also means that if for some reason our opponent was to like Cabal Therapy us, we don't have 2 Quarian Rangers in hand for them to hit.
Another thing this does is, and it comes up frequently, is then your opponent is unsure if ley line's in your deck. So I would just play Ranger here, play Cradle, Green Sun for 1. This is also a kill next turn if they don't kill you, or take the natural order.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is like if they have a discard spell, like they get to take it, unless it's something random like an Inquisition. And if they have Cabal Therapy, Natural Order seems like the obvious thing to name, unless they can just like go off and then they name Surgical or Fairy.
They could think that you kept a hand based on the Green Sun.
So question from chat: how fast does Hogak normally combo out by? Um, Hogak is not a deck that you play for its combo speed. Hogak is a deck that you play for its resiliency.
Yeah, it's a deck that preys upon Delver. Okay, so our opponent's just dead.
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to fetch Dryad Arbor and sacrifice Dryad Arbor, I guess.
Yeah, you can actually even, yeah, that's exactly right.
I guess that's over tapping. Tap that.
If we had 1 extra mana, we could actually use the Reclaimer to fetch out the other Arbor, untap it with the Ranger, and then hit for even more, but that's not necessary here.
There's a weird world where they like are a Force of Will build or something, but that doesn't usually come up.
I've seen Manaless Dredge do that, but that's about it.
Enderman?
So the good thing is they don't know about Leyline too, or at least they're unsure. So that can just steal us game 3 just without having played a single land draw.
And I am of the opinion that Elves sideboards are a little bit volatile. Like, it's not like something like Death and Taxes where you expect to see the same things again and again and again. At least from my side of the table, it seems like there's a decent amount of variety in what you do with an Elves sideboard. So I don't think Leyline is 100% a slam dunk, right?
It depends on the metagame, and also there's a lot of variance in it from what I've seen between Elves players, between each individual Elf player, because I like to play a lot of anti-combo hate, but then other lists I've seen will run what I think is too little anti-combo.
This looks like an easy mulligan to me, right?
Yeah, the hand's very bad.
This hand is gas.
Right.
Is Green Sun going back since I'm tight on mana?
No, Green Sun is never going back in any case.
It's just getting the Dryad Arbor.
Here I would actually get
Do we have the
Here, but
do we have the mana to actually make the glimpse work right now?
I was gonna say we can put a glimpse back because the green sun represents Reclaimer, to be honest. And we're gonna leave with turn one Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize not as good here on the draw, so there was some consideration to boarding it out, but I think it does enough because it can take a altar too. They might force a vigor in response.
That would be good. That would keep this a real game. Okay, yeah, they
There
did
it
have
is.
the Force of Vigor. That's okay. Hopefully we get to take a critical card.
So we can take the study here.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, if they didn't have the Force of Vigor, the Thoughtseize pretty much locks up the game. So you just high roll them there.
Ooh.
Thoughtseize bug.
We would really like to draw a land.
We actually don't need it because, well, land would be nice because then we can just green sun for Reclaimer proactively, but we can still play the other 3 drops if we don't draw a land here. There it is.
Okay, great. So the line is just do the green sun, right?
Yeah, there's no, there's no need to just get Q here. Get the Sabat. Just threaten that you might still have Archon.
So the nice thing here is that, like, assuming our opponent doesn't, like, somehow put an altar into play, this represents both Bojuka Bog and Caracas.
Exactly.
So many careful studies.
And you're pretty much leaving Reclaimer up until you get until you bog them out. It's not coming down. So here you can play the Ranger, play the Birchlore. Well, yeah, and then untap. Let me see if we can even glimpse here. I think that's probably not, but yeah, you can play the Ranger, play the Birchlore, tap both for the Ranger, untap one of the guys, and still have Reclaimer up, and then just be left with just a glimpse in your hand.
Okay, so Quirion followed by Birchlore. Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Well, they're both Rangers, which is awkward.
Yeah.
All right, so we do this. We do this. Now we use Quirion Ranger to return a land and replay the land, and then between.
Actually, we can even glimpse next turn. So there's value in keeping the Ranger here. Just attack with the Reclaimer, bounce the land, untap the Reclaimer, then we still have Bog up.
Yeah, this just gives us just the tiny bit more incremental advantage. Okay. So we will untap this, return a forest, play a forest. Now we have 1/2 mana plus this untapped.
Exactly. And the reason why I often compare Reclaimer to Stoneforge Mystic instead of Night, it's also similar to Night Reliquary because you leave 2 mana up, but every turn that they allow you to untap, it gets progressively worse for them because you're finding Cradle, you're finding Arbor, and whatnot.
So we let the Hedron Crab trigger resolve, and then we probably bog, right?
No, we don't even need a bog yet. Well, actually, what's the so the blood gas?
Like, is this enough value? Given that, like, we have a glimpse turn coming up.
I don't even think we're scared of that, to be honest.
Okay.
One is not.
Yeah, I guess if we don't bog, we just like get a cradle instead.
Yeah, the upside of Cradle is just too high.
I was thinking about the Cabal therapy that's in their hand with the Bloodghast.
We can live with that. That's not a big deal.
Okay, well,
So they had the thought seeds anyways. So the final card in their hand should be the Hogak, right?
the Hogak was discarded here.
Okay, so we don't know their last card.
Now they're thinking about whether or not it's worth sacrificing the Bloodghast to take my Quirion Ranger.
Probably not. Oh, they did.
They
That's
did.
fine. You don't really care.
Yeah. So now I don't have anything that requires black in my deck, right? So I sacrifice the
Well, you don't
Bayou.
need white. Well, you have the Thoughtseize, and in case you draw a ley line, I would pitch the white, to be honest.
Okay.
In hindsight, I normally board out Archon in this matchup. I just forgot to earlier as a note to the audience.
All right. Sacrifice this.
Get a Cradle.
Convert that into Cradle.
That's a hell of a draw.
Do we play that?
Um,
There's worlds where we want to convert it. I don't know if there's worlds where we want to convert it into another land, actually.
there's probably no reason. Well, in case we hard cast the hoof at some point, but that I think we're still far away from that. So that could be 3, 4. I think we probably just hold it, to be honest, and then you can crash in.
Are there lines that involve like growing Elvish Reclaimer this turn?
There are. So what you could do is you could
Vote mana with
you could play the
Bayou.
Caracas, tap the Bayou and the Caracas. Well, then you can't untap. I would just crash in with the Ranger and the Burst Lord, to be honest.
Okay.
Because you still need the Cradle, and you can't pitch the Caracas, so you can't untap with because you have to pitch the Bayou anyways. You don't care about one.
There is now a bridge from below.
But keep in mind, you can still respond to the bridge trigger.
Sure.
That's fine.
Now we let them sacrifice the Bloodghast. This is now good enough, right? Like,
let me see if we can hold this even longer. So they would get 2 power.
they get another zombie, which they will then sacrifice to re-alter.
So can I see the graveyard? What's behind the bridge? I can't tell from here.
Thoughtseize. So notably,
It's crazy, but I actually don't think you need to do it yet.
I don't know, but like if we let them get that zombie, then they get to hard cast this Gravecrawler.
Actually, that's true. I forgot about the cradle. You can do it now, yeah.
Okay.
It's already very backbreaking for them. This bog.
Like I don't want to lose this because we got too conservative. It seems like leaving them with a crab and an altar when I have 5 power on board and an answer to a future Hogak is totally fine.
I, I think if it's not for the Gravecrawler, you still don't care about one creature because they need two before Hogak even matters. And we have the Caracas. But it's awkward because of the dementia, for sure.
Okay. Interestingly, they opted to turn their crab into a zombie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at
I'm
all.
really not a fan of that play.
I think they just like eliminated whatever outs that they had, or they definitely lost some of their grind engine.
Yeah, like they save 2 points of damage coming in, but then like how are they going to win? Like
Right.
seems like we're just attacking with Elvish Reclaimer and playing a Heritage Druid.
Uh, I think here you want to tap the cradle and the bog, or actually, you can actually just tap the bog and the two dorks,
Okay.
and then sack the bog for arbor and replay the arbor so you can attack with the reclaimer. So you have an extra dude on board,
Okay, I see.
and then you want to keep the heritage in hand because you can't attack, but it's live for a glimpse.
All right. So we now return the forest, untap this, replay the forest, crash in.
And crash in.
These little tiny optimizations are like 100% relevant.
Oh yeah, it's because the way the deck is the way it plays out. Each little thing is snowballed. Like I've had games where if I misplay, for instance, on turn two because I sequenced a little wrong, or like similar in the first match we played, um, where we got punished by days, or this I guess it was a previous match. Things like that just makes your turn five, turn six much worse.
They did hit a
And I
bridge
don't
from below off of their zombie, but like this would have been 6 cards milled if they kept their crab instead.
right. So that's why I think it was a terrible play.
Also, why are you fetching now?
Probably hard cast. No, that
Oh,
seems really weird.
okay. Uh,
They're probably gonna pitch to it. Well, I don't know what they're doing.
you're okay. I don't know. You like did that and then I don't know, like you just lost out on a combat trick.
Okay, so here's something that's kind of interesting. You can play the Bayou. I think we just want to attack now. Don't attack. Don't attack with the Arbor though.
Attack with the others.
Actually, you can attack with the Arbor. That's fine. But what I was gonna say is, one cool thing about these bridge from below matchups is you can use Reclaimer to sack the Arbor to kill their bridge. It may come up.
Okay. So we let combat damage happen, right?
Yeah, I don't think we care about their 2/2 zombie.
Is it free for us to just take out this bridge here though? So like we float mana.
And untap sack the Arbor, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is free.
Okay. We'll untap, I guess. No, we have to untap this.
Yeah,
Return
and then you can
this.
sack the Arbor.
Okay, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, it comes up a lot actually, and a lot some dredge and some Hogek players might not be aware of it too.
All right, this is cool.
And you can do it again, which is the funny part.
Already played a land. I've already played a land. Definitely showing off the little things that allow you to work more consistently to like 5-0ing leagues with elves and such here. Again, very happy to have you on stream to showcase this sort of stuff.
No, it's an honor to be on. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
All right, we've taken down 2 in a row here. I think our match 2 was pretty clean. Liked how we played a lot of that. Got to do some cool things.
Excuse me for about 10 seconds. I'm gonna get some water.
Oh, of course.
But I'll be right back.
All right. Now that I'm not mid-match, Mr. Home Duck, as well as Uwen 1980 and Staggeringly Exquisite, Crodal, and Red Sugar. Thank you all very much for following. I hope you all are enjoying the content that we have going on today.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. You have just gotten paired.
So yeah, I think the only thing I wish I could change from the current list is it'd be nice to have the bog main deck, but there isn't really anything on my side at the moment.
All right, we're going to 5. We haven't had a mana producer yet. That happens sometimes.
That happened.
So this probably ends up being a keep. What are we throwing back? Dryad Arbor and what? Land?
It'd be probably Dryad Arbor and Misty Rainforest.
Oh.
There's some argument to throw back Cradle, but I just think the upside's too high.
All right. Are we playing Quirion on 1?
Yes.
I think we are.
The reason being is because we want to be able to Visionary on 2, which would be the reason to keep the other land over Cradle. But I like to roll high.
I think rolling high is very important once you've mulliganed to 5.
Exactly.
Like a lightning bolt will be good against us. A wasteland will be good against us. A single counter spell will be good against us. Like there's so many cards that are going to get value versus us that here.
Yeah, but I think when we're on 5, we need to be able to have better draws.
I think we're just playing the Visionary this turn, correct?
Correct, because we want to
And then
glimpse.
we hope for a glimpse turn 3.
And then we're back in the game, essentially. Which is the whole argument to rolling high, right?
Yeah, so given the start, we're expecting something like Maverick or maybe Infect.
Yes. It should be pretty apparent once they play something. I'm thinking Maverick.
Yeah.
Based on Verdant, right?
Okay. So this knight represents a wasteland on Gaia's Cradle, so we're going to hope to kind of high roll this turn.
Yeah, we have to go now. So here, we want to glimpse, but then bounce our force before tapping on Cradle, so we can get more mana off the Cradle first.
Okay, and that's better than like hoping to luck into another Cradle.
Yeah, I think that's bad.
Okay. All right. So we'll glimpse.
I only do that if that's my only out.
We'll untap one of our random creatures, and we'll return this forest. Our Wirewood doesn't really do anything quite yet, right? Do we play this before Allosaurus Shepherd, or do we play Allosaurus Shepherd first because it's an elf?
In general, you want to prioritize one drop elves first. There's certain corner cases, but they're kind of hard to explain, so I don't want to
Yeah,
dive too much into it.
let's not go there. I have not hit a mana producing elf yet. I have not, so we're done.
Yeah, but our hand is now pretty stocked. Like,
Is it worth attacking in and bouncing whatever my opponent blocks for 1 damage?
no.
Okay. Radio Mars, thank you very much for the bits. I hope you're enjoying this. So sort of.
So, question: why not Reclaimer and then Visionary with Cradle? I'm not sure I understand the question.
So just
Oh,
pulling
actually, that
up
might be pretty cool.
Elvish Reclaimer here. It's 2 tap, sacrifice a land, and the land enters the battlefield tapped.
Yeah, I'm not really sure I understand the question.
Thalia is fine. Is not going to do things against most of what my deck has going on.
So the funny thing here is we actually are close to lethal.
So
I think you just let that resolve, to be honest.
I think so. I think we're just playing to the board via Allosaurus Shepherd.
Yeah, I think they're just dead on board potentially.
Well, they're gonna wasteland me so that they're not dead. All right, not the best draw.
So here I would just play out a fetch, and then we can just continue to trade our cradles with their wastelands.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then like any turn where they're not holding up Knight of the Reliquary, they die.
Right. Yeah.
We can get cute and try to push some Elvish Reclaimer damage too, right? I don't know that that's good, but we could like attack with an Elvish Reclaimer. If they block with a Thalia, I fetch and then sack another land with Elvish Reclaimer to kill the Thalia for free.
Yeah, but they might see that coming.
I agree.
You can attack with one reclaimer, yeah, and leave the other one up.
I don't know. Is killing the Thalia for free better than like forcing them to hold the Knight back though? Probably not.
Well, you're gonna have one reclaimer up regardless.
Right, but if they do make the Thalia block, then or no, I guess I just get the land then.
You just get the land
Okay.
anyways, and then they still have to wasteland you. So it's kind of free, I guess.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we have pushed a free point of damage.
So I see a comment about attacking with both reclaimers. The reason why you don't want to do that is because you don't want to be priced into um, having to bounce one of your lands and setting yourself back on tempo. Like we want to continue making land drops and not having to set ourselves back and dazing ourselves effectively. So here we're gonna do it in response.
And I think I just fetch a non-basic, right? Like fetch a Bayou and rotate that away.
Uh, yeah. And you still get the cradle because you have to.
Oh yeah.
You force their knight down essentially.
I mean, I'm very happy to see that mana going away. Worth bouncing my forest to kill Thalia?
Probably, yeah. They don't see it, I guess. Because they can't STP right now unless they don't respect the cradle, which is bad.
I mean, unless they have like Bojuka Bog main deck and they get me for this, which is awkward.
I mean, then cradle's up, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There's no way they can allow you to untap with cradle with 4 cards in hand.
Sure, that's fine. Yep, and there's the wasteland that we knew just like had to be coming.
Yeah, yeah, they cannot, absolutely cannot let you untap with cradle up.
Yeah, like with 4 cards in hand and Allosaurus Shepherd in play.
Here you can actually, well, actually you don't want to crash. You can just probably play one of the fetches, and then that represents an arbor.
Yeah, I feel like I'm attacking with Elvish Reclaimer here.
Yeah, because you
And
can't activate it anyway.
then it's kind of interesting what if other creatures I do attack with.
I don't think you attack with anything else because a cradle at any point they lose the game.
I don't know. At the same time, like they could go on the plan of like protect from green, crash in, and I'm dead in 3 turns.
With Knight of the Reliquary, you mean?
Yeah,
That's not gonna get there. If they're allowing you to untap with Reclaimer with a cradle up, they're gonna lose.
right. But okay, I'm gonna trust you here. You've got the reps. But like as the fair Magic player, I'm afraid of the like offensive pivot here. Oh, I guess I just also have like Dryad Arbor based lines as well, don't I?
Yeah, I mean, they. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, just take 8.
Just take 8 now.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you didn't fetch Arbor.
Ah, yeah, sorry, I forgot. My bad.
Uh, might not matter. You can. Yeah, you can play. You can play a forest right now. Preemptively fetch in case they have removal,
Okay.
and then that leads up a Guy's Cradle, a Reclaimer representing Guy's Cradle later on.
Yeah. It's a shame that they had another Thalia. Now I can't like get a Birch Lore here or a Heritage Druid and go ham.
Well, yeah,
Okay, I think I'm just passing the turn here.
yeah. The Arbor was kind of big there because that represents another mana off a potential Guy's Cradle, but it should be okay still. I think it's very greedy for them to attack here.
Yeah, they might just be dead if they attack.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Shepherd doesn't give trample, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But like I said, yeah, it's extremely greedy for them to attack here. But maybe that's their only out.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, am I on? No, I'm not on any blocks here, right?
If you want to hedge, you could block with the ranger, and then that ensures you at least 2 turns.
Yeah, I probably need those turns. Like I get Cradle mana this turn.
I think you block with the visionary here.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I think if they were attacking, they also needed to tap Mom.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
guarantee
that
the
was
damage.
sketch on their behalf. If they're gonna attack, they need to force it through. And then now Cradle is up for a full turn, which is kind of scary actually for them.
All right. We get to do stuff. How do I do stuff best?
So here I would lead with the Druid. So you have 4 mana. I would probably tap the 3 Elves for the Visionary.
Yeah. Glimpse.
That is very good. Yeah, I would glimpse here. Well, yeah, you can glimpse here, use your ranger, untap an elf, tap Green Sun for 1, get
Okay, are you
Wirewood.
counting Thalia in your math?
Yes.
Okay. So I can go ahead and tap my Cradle here.
Oh, no, you definitely don't want to tap your Cradle. So use your ranger, untap an elf, create 4 mana.
So now.
So you needed to tap the 3 elves for 4.
Oh shoot.
And yeah, you didn't need to play the forest there, but it's okay.
Okay.
It might not matter. We'll see. So tap for 4 mana, Green Sun for 1. Get the Wirewood. Now use that last forest for the glimpse, and now we have 6 mana floating. It can go off.
Okay. Cool. Now
And they can't kill us next turn anyways, even if we fizzle, because Knight can't get to 13.
And now we bounce the Quarian Ranger, right?
No, you bounce the Visionary.
Okay, bounce the Visionary just for greatest number of draws, not for reusability. Okay. Okay. I mean,
okay, we have the 1 then. First was a good draw.
Thalia doing more work than normal. Now we do this again.
I actually wouldn't do it there, because then you can leave up Visionary to block bounce. We've
Okay.
already played our land drop, so we can't do any more.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and now if they wasteland us, we have the ability to sack our Cradle to just get another Cradle.
Yes, so they may not see that too. It's because it's not obvious.
does require us to also use the Wirewood Symbiote for the Quarian Ranger to untap one more creature.
Right.
Ooh, a Shifting Ceratops.
I don't even know what it does, to be honest. I know it's like very good against blue.
So they're going to give it haste here, and it can also get trample.
Okay. So they're probably going to try to force that through or something.
All right, yeah. So they're trying to force their knight through.
It's still only 12. Okay, so they're just crashing with everybody. I think knight is, so the other two is 12 alone. You can just actually block the Thalia and the Pride Mage, and then block and then bounce.
Yeah.
And then you can actually rotate for Arbor here as well. So tap the 3 elves, untap the Reclaimer, sack the forest for an Arbor.
Okay, now I use Quarian. No, I use Wirewood Symbiote. So untap this, bounce this.
Or actually, Once Upon a Time might be pretty nice here too.
Once Upon a Time seems better to me.
Yeah, than getting the Arbor. I agree.
Okay. Hoof just kill.
Yeah, just get the hoof and they're dead.
Seems good. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7.
So,
Play
you
Dryad
play the
Arbor.
Arbor, extra creature for Cradle, and then you just kill them with a hoof.
Send them in.
Yeah, so that's why, like I said, I typically am not afraid of none of the Royal Card in this matchup because you have so many ways to buy turns.
I mean, we did end up overkilling. No, I'm happy to play some elves on stream. This is I haven't played much with this version of the deck, obviously, which is why I'm like relatively slow in figuring out lines. But I played a decent amount with other versions on paper, not on Moto. I'm very slow with these clicks. All right, what are we doing in this like nice fair matchup? I imagine that we're sideboarding very little.
Yeah, you just want Progenitus and then the 3 decays. I don't even think they run Gadok T anymore. I'm not sure. The Archon comes down here. And then you can trim on. You probably don't even need the Allosaurus Rider Shepherds here, to be honest.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear the first part over the blunder. So trim Allosaurus, Shepherd, and what else?
Because Progenitus replaces the Archon.
Okay, that makes sense. Are we going all 3 of these out? Or do we want to like leave one for utility, Green Sun purposes?
I think you can leave one for utility, and you can cut Reclaimer.
Okay. We have a single Bayou opening hand, which is a touch risky. What do you say to this?
I would probably just keep, to be honest, because the Green Sun represents another land drop.
Okay.
It's a little green, but I think that's fine.
Getting Thoughtseized on one? Yeah, we're getting Thoughtseized on one. I'm somewhat surprised I didn't just take the green sun, but I'm
Me
happy.
too. Yeah, so here we probably lose to Swords plus Wasteland, but I don't like to mulligan if I can avoid it.
That's fair. I know Julian was also relatively anti-mulligan when playing Elves.
Elves is a critical mass deck, so that's why you don't really want to mulligan. Wow, they. Oh, okay. At first, I thought they missed their land drop.
I mean, that is almost missing a land drop.
I would leave with the Reclaimer here because you almost want the heritage now.
Yeah. Bradle would be pretty cool. Any land would be pretty cool.
Any land in our hands is very scary. And Reclaimer can potentially represent a cradle later on too. So here I would just Birch Lore into Green Sun for 0.
That was my inclination as well. We'll see if we get Swords to Plowshared here.
Swords would be okay because then they can't Swords the Arbor later on. And I feel like they would. Well, there's some reason to hold Swords back, but
I don't know. I feel like when you can bottleneck Elves on mana, you bottleneck Elves on mana. I put them on, if they didn't respond to that, I would put them on not having Swords to Plowshares.
exactly.
Well, that is oddly good against our hand.
Yes and no. We have a decay. So here I would actually just play land, pass turn, and now we have a cradle the following turn and a decay on the chains.
Seems good. Do we get to do... No, we don't get to do both this turn, right? We only have 3 mana if we tap Reclaimer.
If they don't play Wasteland, I would prioritize the cradle.
Wow!
So now we definitely prioritize the cradle.
Yes. Not just 1 chains either, 2 chains.
Nice.
Sacking our
Basic, I think. You want the black.
Yeah.
If they would have Wasteland, they would have already done. If they had Wasteland, they would have already done so.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of awkward to be honest. I'd probably just pass the turn.
Are there any attacks that make sense?
Probably not. You want to leave the Reclaimer up for Wasteland.
Okay. Do we play out Heritage Druid?
No, because if we draw another decay, then it's live. We are a little bit probably behind on time, so something to keep in mind.
Also, are we decaying this Hex Drinker if they're just like straight up going for it?
4 cards in hand. If they go for the turn 3, then probably. So they time walk themselves. So that's probably a Teague.
Is.
I would just end step decay the Teague, to be honest.
And now we rotate our Bayou into a fetch land.
Yeah, I like that. There's some merit for another arbor, but Fetchland's fine too.
Well, do we want to just fetch for Arbor, right? Oh, no, we can't. I see. Yeah.
Chains is kind of interesting. That's for sure. I'd probably play the Ranger just to protect the arbor and pass.
Yeah, off of the fetch land. Like,
No, you want to leave the fetch up.
so tap Arbor. This game is very strange.
Yeah, I didn't expect one more, never mind two chains from Maverick.
I mean,
I think we're
it's obviously
still,
very good right here.
I think we're still favored because we have so many live draws, but it's just a little awkward at the moment.
Yeah, you
They
can
probably
take that Heritage Druid.
I don't even know the full text on chains. I just know that I'm not allowed to draw.
Yeah, it turns draws into loots.
Which could be okay, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end of the world if like we get into desperate straits and have to do it. Hmm. This is kind of weird because if I like take the Bayou here and then I get Wastelanded, I don't have access to black easily anymore.
You
Like,
still have the Ranger to
yeah,
protect it.
okay, I guess that doesn't matter.
Did the other Arbor die? Oh, it just passed.
Exiled.
Okay.
Yeah, now we're just kind of in a holding pattern until something changes. Now we don't have anything to do with Elvish Reclaimer, really, right? Like it's
You could deck thin, but we need that Arbor, the second Bayou. We don't have any more.
okay. Good stuff.
Well, at least now we have a pitch for the chains. I think if we draw a creature, we probably start to use it for value.
Yeah, our hand is very bad. Oh, that's not great either. Okay.
I would probably sack the Cradle for another Cradle to deck in there, but not a big deal.
Baby Progenitus is better than the actual Progenitus in my hand as of right now.
So comment from Fine and Andy. Two chains replaces a draw with discard two, draw one. So we can't really do that then.
Is that true? This is a replacement effect, right? So you can't have multiple simultaneous replacement effects?
So can you bring up chains?
Yeah.
Player withdraw a card. Unfortunately, I haven't been in this situation before, so I don't know.
I mean, let's just... I guess this eats an ooze, get clocked slower.
No, I don't think we care about the ooze
Yeah.
at this. Like we have to play to win.
So you want to like discard a chain, like blow up a chains and try to find the final abrupt decay for the other chains.
Mm-hmm. I don't see a winning line besides that. We might just be too far behind with this awkward board.
Yeah, I'm fine with conceding here for time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just do that. Especially since we drew the Progenitus already too.
Yeah, like that makes the natural order so much worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we realistically win that game based on their hand.
Yeah, and assuming they have any relevant interaction over a couple of turns, I don't think we get
So we
there.
know about the team now. So I want to bring in Caracas.
Okay, and what are we trimming for that?
Uh, because we're bringing in Caracas, I want to bring back the other reclaimer as well,
Okay.
and then we can cut the last shepherd and cut druid.
Is cutting the last shepherd good? Like if we end up in like another chain situation, being able to like greens on this as a small win condition is relevant.
Um, there's merit for that. I think in most cases you just want to hoof them, right?
Okay.
Actually, hold on. Three reclaimer might be okay, so you can leave the one shepherd as a potential tutor piece.
I think our opponent has already submitted, so we're locked in.
Okay, it's okay.
We're land heavy, but we have a glimpse. And when once upon a time to find a creature. Keep.
Yeah, it's not the best, but here I want to fetch first to deck then, I think.
Okay, just fetch basic forest.
Yeah. So the once is a little bit better.
All right, once finds Caracas.
Jeez.
Uh, do we have to play this out for cradle reasons, or
No, it just pass.
that's very that's incredibly awkward and also incredibly unlikely. That is what it is.
So now I think we have to play for a turn 3 or 4. Our next turn is likely just fetch, leave it up for Arbor. Yeah.
Definitely now this is a Dryad Arbor.
And we hope they don't have removal. And then we're playing for a turn 3 now.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a turn three win either. A turn three turn like convert these glimpses into reasonable cards is totally fine as well.
Exactly. Might be a night. Yeah, that's fine. We don't really care. So we really need a creature here off the top.
Ask
And
and you
that's the
shall
problem.
receive. I think we do we have to glimpse?
I would because the knight is untapping.
Yep.
So glimpse, and then I would play the.
Varian Ranger now,
I would
or play the second glimpse.
I would fetch first.
We're not playing
Get
Cradle this
another.
turn.
Huh?
We're fetching, not
What's that
playing
again?
Cradle.
Yeah, we're gonna save the cradle.
Okay. And we just like try to play Cradle the turn that we hoof.
Actually, get a Bayou if you can. Oh,
Too late. Glimpse second time, or just play Ranger and hope to get lucky.
no, glimpse the second time.
All right.
We have to get hit to one of these has to be a creature, hopefully. So we can get 2 draws.
That's
That's
a
a really
very
good
good
draw.
creature. All right.
The reason why I wanted to get a Bayou there is because we knew ahead of time we're gonna bounce it.
Or, nope, 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 nope. Virtual Rangers. Past this.
Wow, that's also a very good draw. And then we can do it again. We're like running hot with these draws.
Yeah, we were a little bit unlucky at the beginning there. Reclaimer versus Symbiote.
Reclaimer because Reclaimer can tap.
For
The Berserker
mana.
can tap for the symbiote.
Now it's symbiote.
Yeah.
So now
And then
we
bounce the ranger. We're gonna do the same trick we did before from the previous game.
okay, hold on. Untap target creature, bounce the Quirion Ranger.
Uh-huh.
Use that to redeploy the Quirion Ranger.
Uh-huh. And then you can bounce the arbor, untap another dude, draw another card.
Okay, now this gets us another mana off of Birchlore. And
Reclaimer here.
now this is where we stop, right?
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna pitch all the lands essentially.
Yeah, just keep the cradles.
Yeah. You don't even need Caracas at this point.
I guess the natural order doesn't really do anything. How many cards? Keep second cradle.
You only need one, I think.
Okay.
They should be dead next time.
Yeah, so we have cradle for 6, tap 4 creatures for 2, cast hoof, and crash in. All right, they have surgical extraction and natural order.
That is a terrible card to board in this matchup.
It sure is. But we
I
take
don't know why
these. Okay, do we still have a hoof after one of our creatures was removed?
No.
Okay.
And we can't play Cradle here because it's gonna die. It's gonna get wasted. So your green son's gonna have to find a Heritage Druid. Or what you can do is leave Reclaimer up. Depends on a draw here though.
Are we just glimpsing again and trying to just draw, like hard draw another cradle?
Yeah, you can do that.
I guess I want to do this like this then.
Actually, what we could have done was decay the knight and then play the Cradle.
Yeah.
Which we still can actually. They may kill it, but then we'll float the mana and sack in response. They're gonna get the Wasteland right now. So we just float the mana. And we do have to play faster. We have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I just let this go, right? Or do I cycle?
No, you have to rotate it here.
Okay.
In case we can't win. And then you just play your dudes, but make sure you have enough mana for decay.
Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna like do it now.
Sure. And then you just play the Wirewood. Bounce a dude, play it again. And then just pass the turn. If we fade a Wasteland here, we win the game.
That's okay. Now we will win the game as soon as we get 2 lands in play for Elvish Reclaimer. I can also just
You,
turn all of these creatures sideways twice.
you don't even need to turn. You play the land, leave 2 mana, 2 creatures up and a reclaimer up, and crash in with the others.
Okay.
Because you can rotate that for the cradle. Yeah, and then leave the rest behind. We should be able to get there.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried. Anything they tap out. Well, okay, that's whatever.
They're gonna take the hoof, but now they're just dead to our board.
Yeah, I probably at this point abrupt decay the Bird of Paradise next turn at some point.
I don't even think you need to, because we're getting a cradle here. We still have a shepherd, right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah, so
no.
we can bring stuff for the shepherd, and that's lethal now.
No, we don't. They're all in the sideboard.
Oh, they're on the side. Okay.
I believe this is our last cradle. Yes.
You know what's funny? We can actually green sun for Progenitus here.
Seriously? Wow. Is that good?
It might be relevant because, but okay, we have 7. Yeah, let's just do it. I don't think they can beat that card,
Okay.
but we just have to be careful on time.
So how much mana does that cost? 11?
Yeah,
8?
and then we just pass the turn.
9? And
I'm afraid it's gonna be like Plague Engineer coming down. That's why.
11.
We do have to go though. We have 40 seconds.
Yeah, at this point I'm just
We
gonna
just pass
F6 their
power.
turn. And they have to have Council's Judgment for that.
I mean, that one card. It's either that or it's not.
And it's not.
Whew. These are some close calls.
Yeah, we're skirting on time a little bit, but that's only because we're taking the time to talk about things. All right, we're currently 3-0. I'm going to take a second to run to the restroom here. Chad, if you have any questions for Newton, this is a great time to direct them his way, unless you need to step away for a second.
No, I'll answer the questions.
All right, great. So send questions to Newton.
Yeah, conceding the second game was huge, as mentioned by the chat. Round 1 was Rug Delver. It might be, Tom. We played the maximum number of games so far. Yeah, the deafening silences are mostly for tests because it's funny. I played 3 leagues last night, and I played Testa combined 5 times. I did go 3-2 against them. I lost both times to Brian Cook though. No nettles because I just don't think they're necessary. And I want to make when I added Reclaimer to the list, I wanted to I needed to make room for Reclaimer, and I think Reclaimer Nettle was the weakest card.
All right, I'm back. I'm going to start queuing.
I do have a stream, but I haven't streamed in quite a long time, only because I play significantly worse. I might do it if there's enough interest, though. But I mean, it's only been a few people here and there that have asked, so at the moment, I'm not.
Yeah, I have no doubt that if you wanted to do some video content from time to time, but you don't want to stream regularly, someone like, MinMax Blog or something like that, I'm sure would be very happy to host you.
Yeah, Max is a great guy. So is Min. But Max, I even know in person because he's a local. Oh, I think you might be on mute, Phil. I didn't hear what you just said.
Oh, I should be good now.
Okay.
Hey, Nathan, now that you're here, I couldn't download your deck list from Discord. Just something to do with like Discord's like privacy or security settings. Could you message me that same deck list for Daily D&T either on Twitter or Facebook? Would very much appreciate that. Or if you want me to play with a different deck list, that's fine as well.
Oh, so this player typically plays lands.
Thank you, Nathan. Looks like we have a great opening hand. Well, maybe a good opening hand is a better way to say that. Like, we have creatures and spells, but not combo potential. You still there, Newton?
Yes, sorry, I was answering something.
Oh, okay. Good to keep this hand.
Yeah.
Yep, that looks like a land start. In the last game, all of the shepherds were in the sideboard. Okay, so our opponent has Wasteland and Blast Zone active
Yeah.
with recursion as of turn 1.
Yeah. I mean, we lead with Green Sun here, but I think this is probably a loss.
Yeah.
We can play it out a little bit. The thing is, I just realized too, I'm gonna have to take my dog out to use the restroom in a bit.
Oh yeah, that's
So
fine. We'll take a short pause after this match.
okay.
Real talk, is it worth just conceding here? Like, are we losing this game such a high proportion of the time that it's better to not show them what deck I'm playing? Because like the only way we win is off natural order, but we
And that's
only
not
have
for a while.
we only have 2 basic lands.
Yeah, actually, that's there's merit in just conceding right here, and
I shouldn't have played the Misty if that was the case, but like I think we're
you can
dead.
still concede before revealing the land, though.
Yeah. Seeing Misty Elves is not going to be my first thought anyway. Alright, so seems like we would like our ley lines and our Bojuka Bogs. This
I think you want the Caracas too. And
is
the
this a
Progenitus.
matchup where Progenitus is good? Yeah.
Yeah, they just can't beat that card. They have to race it, and while they can, it's not easy. Archon comes out usually if Progenitus comes in.
Yeah.
I usually don't keep both. Um, in this case, in this matchup, you just want to go fast.
You like trimming these?
Those are actually interesting because they're a win con in themselves. So I actually don't like the Wirewood Visionary engine here because it's kind of slow.
So we could do 2/2 and then
Another Visionary probably.
okay.
Usually I alternate with Visionary first. I treat this almost like a combo matchup.
This is an interesting hand. I feel like this is a keep. What do you think?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, this hand is insane.
Are we
So
fetching
you're gonna
for
want,
basic forest before we once?
yes, to thin out. And because really we want the wants to find a Quirion Ranger. Because that's the turn two Progenids.
Our opponent has mulligan to 5.
Opponent's on lands, Tom.
We have found a Birch Lore Ranger or a Wirewood Symbiote.
So okay, they're actually both pretty good here. Birch Lore is probably a little bit better, but they still leave up the option to get turn two Progenitus. So yeah. Oh, I was gonna say you want a Green Sun for 0 there.
I couldn't Green Sun for 0. Right?
What do you mean?
Oh, I see. Oh, yep, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, because we're looking to get the turn two Progenitus um, with the previous hand, because any elf there, oof, that makes our hand significantly worse. So you just Green Sun for 0 here.
And yeah. I guess I don't show Cradle this turn.
Right. You just play one of your other fetches.
Yeah, Port with Sphere buys opponent a devastating amount of time.
Yeah, see, I think we might be a little bit punished by not playing the Arbor, because we could have, well, we would have 3 mana here. Yeah, we could have just played the Birch Lore instead and then leave another fetch up. Then the Cradle represents a ton of mana. But I don't think it matters here. So
Yeah,
we have,
now we just have 5 mana natural order.
so we want to attack with the Birch Lore first and then Progenitus them.
Seems good.
And then you want to pitch the Ranger.
Alright, so unless they have like Dark Depths in hand, we should be good.
I mean, is it? Oh,
Well, both teams tried hard. Okay, they
Chat
loaned it
they
already.
loaned it back. I didn't see that.
We have no outs to that, correct?
Yeah, I think
We could glimpse and draw Caracas, I guess.
yeah, we can glimpse and hope to draw Caracas.
Awkward. Play another Cradle, that gets me 3 mana. That doesn't do that. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Can't get them all.
Okay, I'm gonna take my dog out real quick, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna hang out with chat and answer some questions and stuff for a minute.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Hope you all are doing well today. We're currently 3-1 with Elves. How are you liking Reclaimer Elves, Phil? That's a good question. Let me pull up the deck list here. I can say with certainty that this deck list is very different from the like traditional elves or chaos elves deck lists that I've played in the past. I find many of the lines less intuitive, just sort of by their nature. And that's because a lot of times with traditional elves or chaos elves, yeah, is the Tim. We had nothing. We were kind of all in on the Progenitus and you not making the Dark Depths there. So the lines that are available to me off of Elvish Reclaimer are really weird. And a lot of times I don't know that I'm viewing this deck list correctly, I guess is a better way to say it. In that like a lot of times playing other elves builds, like it's just correct to like vomit a whole bunch of stuff to the board, and like you often win by going wide of your opponent or going off. Whereas with this deck list, a lot of times, a lot of the nuance of play and tempo is attached to Elvish Reclaimer. And without Nettle Sentinel in the deck list, the Glimpse turns are significantly harder. Like, there are a lot of Glimpse turns when you're playing traditional elves that you have perfect lines that, let's say, make 60 mana, and you have imperfect lines that make 40 mana. And the 40 mana lines will still win you turns, right? And the margins here are much smaller. Where, like, let's say your perfect turn might make 20 mana instead, and your imperfect turn makes 10 mana instead. That gulf between good lines and bad lines is much wider. There's also some individual draws that you can make that are a bit punishing. So, like, for example, in this deck, early, if you draw the Crater Hoof, when you only have one hoof in your deck, you don't get the early just natural order guaranteed kill anymore. The natural order instead goes into an Archon soft lock. So as a whole, I think this deck list is extremely good, but this is one of those decks where if you want to play it in some premier event, you know, if you were wanting to play it in an open or something like that, you need the reps with either this 75 or something very close to it in order to do well with it. Like I own elves on paper. I can, you know, do Nettle Sentinel elves mechanics relatively quickly on paper. But as far as like the mental hoops that I'm jumping through in order to like do the extra Elvish Reclaimer steps and Allosaurus Shepherd math is a little taxing. Another thing is that your glimpse turns are like much less guaranteed wins. So you have Once Upon a Times that normally aren't in the deck list, and you also don't have Nettle Sentinel. So it's like two different things that make your glimpse turns worse. And like it's definitely come up a couple of times where like we've glimpsed and drawn a couple of Once Upon a Times or other things that like we can't cast on that turn and we don't get the kill. Yeah, so all in all, definitely, unquestionably think this deck is harder. Any other questions while we're waiting for Newton to get back here? It can be about elves or not about elves. Got some other interesting cards coming out in like M21 and Jumpstart. I've seen some screenshots on Twitter of goblins doing very interesting things. Although, interestingly, from what I've heard, is it Maraxis? Moxis? The big dumb Goblin King type card is apparently insane, and Snoop is good. Like I watched a clip. Muxus, thank you. I either watched a clip or saw a couple of screenshots that was like show and tell, put in Muxus. Muxus hits a couple of goblins plus a sling gang, and you just like kill. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Um, I've seen takes on both sides about conspicuous Snoop. We'll see how it goes.
All right, I'm back. Thanks for waiting.
But of course.
Was there any questions from the chat that I might have missed? Also, in the previous game, yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention and noticed my dog, so I think we would have done things a little bit differently if I had noticed the loam on the depths. Then we try to set up for the natural order kill instead of progenitus.
Yeah,
As
it's okay. I didn't notice it either. Like it takes a lot of mental energy to stream. It takes more mental energy to stream with a co-host. This looks like a mulligan to me.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. We'll keep this on 5.
Mm-hmm. Here, I think you don't need shepherd, and I don't think you need. You can probably cut a land.
Okay, we just are hoping to hit a land off Once Upon a Time instead, preferably like Cradle.
It allows Once Upon a Time to be better if it hits a cradle.
Okay. All right, Newton, we're running it back. Uh, Fetch for forest for the like marginal 0.5% thinning.
No, you want to once first here.
Okay. I shouldn't have played that then, but
It doesn't. Yeah, you shouldn't have played it first, but it's fine. The reason why is we probably prioritize the land anyways.
yeah,
There's a cradle.
we very easily take this Cradle.
Yeah, and then now we green some for 0.
All right. We don't beat that unless we spike Caracas. Oh, no, Caracas is in the sideboard, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think we just lose here, unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah.
Good game.
This is one of the harder matches for Elves for sure.
I mean, I've been very happy with our play, and if we just lose out because we hit a difficult matchup and get comboed out quickly a couple of times in a row, like that's nothing to be ashamed of for sure.
I think, yeah, but the previous game too was probably on me. I didn't notice, and then so I should have been paying attention. By previous game, I mean like round 4 match, game number 2.
Right. Okay, so before we did ley lines, Bojuka Bog, Caracas in, right? And we
You still
did.
want the progenitus here.
All right, yeah, thank you. And then out was Archon, two of these, and one more Wirewood, or one more, no, one more Elvish.
You just want to be fast. kind of crazy how many Lance players we're running into.
Yes, I do not expect to play against lands once in any given league. Like a it's not an uncommon deck, but it's not one I'm expecting to see every league.
Yeah, whenever I get paired against like Ali, the first thing that runs through my mind is should I just concede? Because it's not that the matchup is unwinnable; it's very miserable to play against it from an Elves player perspective.
This hand seems good.
Yeah, I just wish we had a green sun, but it's fine.
All right, cast Once Upon a Time before anything else here,
Yeah,
or do we fetch for the forest first? Like,
no, we just cast here.
Nathan, I borrowed the Allosaurus Riders from Newton because they are hard to find, and I couldn't get any. He had trouble getting them as well.
Here, I think you just want the Heritage Druid for explosive mana.
Okay. Are we fetching forest or like saving this for potential Dryad Arbor?
Uh, it a general rule of thumb is saving fetches for later.
Okay.
The exception to that is you're playing against Delver and you want to get Reclaimer to be a 3/4.
Okay. And Birch Lore Ranger here.
Right, because it's redundant.
Our opponent probably doesn't have Punishing Fires. They showed us blue, which probably means they're on like an Oko-based build, but you never know.
The blue version is better for us. The original red green version is very hard in my opinion because Gamble is just more copies of Tabernacle.
We cannot get to 4 mana this turn, correct?
Correct. What I would do here is actually play out the Ranger, play out the fetch, but don't fetch, leave it up for Arbor, and then tap the Birch Lore and the Ranger for a Heritage Druid. That plays around Tabernacle. Um, we lose to Blast Zone, but I don't think we really play around that card at the moment.
All right, you said you wanted to do this to play out the Heritage Druid, correct?
Right.
And now we leave this open to fetch. And we have 3. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is very safe.
So we get 3-for-1 from Blast Zone, but that card is kind of hard to play around. We will have a kill next turn if they don't do anything. But, so one of the interesting things about Oko is a lot of people think it's good against Elves, but I think it's pretty bad from my personal experience because you're not really killing anything worth killing, or elking anything worth elking, I should say. So the Wasteland actually throws a wrench in our plan. So does
Sure
the
does.
Tabernacle.
So we have no ability to take that Tabernacle off the table, right? Like that's just there forever.
We don't, but you can beat a Tabernacle. 1 second, sorry, that was my dog.
We're just gonna fetch a forest, use our creatures to pay for, maybe use our lands to pay for our creatures. Hope to get a cradle.
I think you just use the Druid to pay for the creatures.
Okay.
And then you just fetch for the. Actually, you don't even fetch because you want to draw more lands.
Too late.
We're gonna get to a point where we're gonna have not this turn, but the next. The creatures pay for the others, and then we're gonna natural order for Progenitors. That's typically the route to beating Tabernacle. Drawing a cradle here will be huge too.
Okay.
And speaking of the devil,
Yeah, and now we just do we play out our do we play out our creatures and then natural order?
there's some merit for it because what it does is we can. Well, depends if you think they can maze still. Huh. So right now, if we have 5 creatures, uh, hoof would be 16 damage. It's hmm. Yeah, it's probably worth it, I think.
I think so.
It's a faster clock, that's for sure. And then you can just pitch the redundant Birch Lore. And then crash in for would be a lot of damage. Should be 16 if I count it right.
Yeah, so now we use it's fine to use Quarian Ranger, right?
Yeah, you just want to push damage.
So we'll just untap, I guess, our Quarian Ranger, turn a forest. There's 16 of the 20. Maze of Ith is about the only thing that's slightly awkward. But I guess we just beat that anyway, right?
Well, no, because he's going to wasteland our cradle, and in Tabernacle, the heritage will have to pay for the others. So we can only squeeze in maybe 2.
Okay.
Really depends how they want to play it out. But they're already under a lot of pressure. What did the crop find earlier? Was it the Tabernacle?
It was the Tabernacle, yes.
Okay.
They can, like, Life from the
Yeah.
Loam, Maze of Ith, maybe. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like pushing damage there because Progenitus is just playing too safe.
And I don't think we're changing anything. Play draw again.
No. Like I said, this version of Loam I feel better about than the traditional build, only because Oko and Euro are kind of slow.
Yeah, this hand's fine, right? Just Green Sun for Arbor on turn 1 and glimpse
It
off either
is,
2 or 3.
it is, but it's a little scary because we lose to a turn 1 sphere.
Okay.
But I think we still keep.
I agree. I think that's one of those, like, if you got it sort of things. Because it would have to be like Soul Land plus Sphere, or like Mox plus land plus Sphere.
Right. I typically play to win, so
Yep. And Dryad Arbor is the first play here, correct?
for sure. As a general rule of thumb, turn 1 Arbor is more often correct than not. The only exceptions to that is if the rest of your hand there's no payoff.
Oh wow, a Triome. Please don't have Life from the Loam. Please don't have Life from the Loam. I mean, that's pretty good on an empty board, but it's not going to stop them from dying to a Glimpse Chain. Alright. Okay.
So here, the most mana we can make is Ranger, bounce, untap, birch lore, green sun. And I think our opponent misplayed, to be honest, because I would have elked the Arbor, Wasteland of Savannah.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's better to do a line involving Aquarian Ranger than doing a line that involves taking this out of the graveyard.
Oh yeah. That's what I mentioned earlier. You want a
Yeah.
Ranger, bounce the Savannah, play it, birch lore, tap both, green sun for 0 again. Because we just have to get off the ground. But if our opponent had elked the Arbor, Wasteland, or Savannah, we just lose the game. But
Yeah, we just do not get back from that position. We take those. But like it's definitely a weird line from their side of the table, so like I'm not
right, it's probably
surprised
not
they didn't miss
intuitive.
it. Or they didn't see it, rather.
Mm-hmm. If I were them here, I would elk, but we'll see. Elk hard creature, I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That 3/3 is not super relevant. From our perspective. From their perspective, they may like think that they need to protect the Oko.
Right. Sorry, there's my dog.
No worries. Oh, they exchanged rather than elking. That's very interesting, putting their Oko to 1 rather than preserving their Oko.
Yeah, that's.
I don't
I
know
don't.
about that.
I think we take the Oko off the board for sure, and then bog the.
Yeah, I think we're just attacking with both creatures at Oko in case they have some weird removal spell or something.
Agreed. And then we want to
Yeah.
second main bog them because we can't really beat a girl.
Yeah, we don't want that arrow coming back. Yeah, I don't know about opponents' lines this game. Like I feel like we were gifted a better position than we deserve here, and I think now we're just holding this for a future turn as well.
Sorry, I was distracted for a second by the dog. Can you repeat that?
We're just holding the Burstlow Ranges for a future Glimpse turn, right?
Exactly. It's a general rule of thumb with Glimpse. You want at least 2 creatures or 1 creature on a Wirewood, which represents 2 creatures. I only Glimpse with 1 creature if I have no other choice.
I would like to find an Elvish Reclaimer so that we're not just going to be like stone cold dead to the dark depths that they rip.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, we can still.
that food that they gave us may end up keeping us alive.
That's funny.
All right, am I eating the food right here?
The fact that he can do it, yes. And you can pay with the Bajuka Bog. There's also no guarantee we draw a creature. I would just play fetch pass.
Yep. I don't have another Dryad Arbor to get here. just to buy you.
I'm almost there. So what would be relevant potentially is if there's no wasteland around, just fetching just the deck thin, and so we can potentially hit the Caracas.
Yeah, we need to glimpse into Caracas. Or glimpse into a kill, which feels extremely difficult from here.
It's not impossible, but it's very difficult with only 2 creatures on board. Jesus. Non-basic. Because they might ghost quarter.
Okay.
With that, I would just let it resolve.
Yeah, the Quarian Ranger ability might be more relevant elsewhere.
Not to mention you get the green anyways.
All right. Well, we get 1 draw to find Caracas as of right now.
We have probably 1 draw, maybe 2.
That's a guy's cradle. That's death.
That's too bad. I think we were doing well. We were 3-0, and then we ran into 2 lands, which is, like I said, not an easy matchup.
Yeah, I mean that is what it is. Very, very happy with the league as a whole.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of points where, especially I think the biggest thing was the using of the Queering Ranger to bounce an Arbor that we fetch from a Green Sun. Like lines like that is, I think, what new players may have trouble with for this version of the deck.
All right, so Allosaurus Shepherd. This was perhaps not the best league to showcase it.
Not when there's 2 opponents, no.
Yeah, but I think I very much conceptually like the card. The like it does so much, and there was one game where like if we had it in the deck, we could have green sunned for it, and it like would have been good, but we had boarded it out because we didn't think it was going to be good in the matchup.
It generally isn't necessary. That's why I boarded it. Like generally against Maverick, you just want to kill them with a Progenitus or Natural Order.
Yeah, so happy with results overall. We got some difficult pairings at the end, but we had a lot of intricate games with a lot of decision points. And if you're an Elves player and you weren't here for the whole stream, be sure to check out the YouTube video later or like watch the Twitch replay because there's a lot of really intricate stuff going on here. So Newton, do you have any closing thoughts or anything else you want to say about the league?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing this with you. We got some close calls with the time, but I'm glad we got through it. I do want to mention that the Caracas, for me personally, I know the last 2 days of testing, it hadn't been relevant, but it's kind of funny because it was relevant twice here. That's probably the weakest card in the sideboard, in my opinion, at the moment.
All right. Well, if people have more questions for you, where can they find you?
So I have my own Discord server for Reclaimer Elves or Newton Elves, whatever you want to call it. There's a link to it in the main Elves Discord, but the reason why I started my own was because at the time there was a lot of pushback on Elvish Reclaimer as a card, so I didn't want to deal with that, and I figured I didn't want to clog up the main Elves Discord with my own stuff. So that's why we created a separate one.
Crodel, thank you very much for throwing that link in there. Much appreciated.
Also, my Twitter handle is hello_Newton, so you can reach me that way. I'm pretty easy to reach if you looking for me for Elves content. Um, I had a few people join recently to the Discord after I won the Legacy Showcase, so definitely check it out if you are looking for more Elves content.
All right, thank you so much for joining me today, Newton. Really appreciate it. Kind of got my baby elves coaching session here. Your time very much here is appreciated, and I hope you all enjoyed it today. I'm going to be turning you over now to Arkin, who is presumably playing Legacy of Some Nature. Have a great rest of the day, folks, and I hope to see you all again soon. In the next day or two, I'll be playing an Ominous Seas build on Steam. That's what's up next.